Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Rosa and Rubini podcast, Making Sense of This World. My name is Manas Chavla, and as always, I'm really pleased to be joined by CEO and Head of Research, Brunello Rosa. Uh, Brunello, this week we're talking about France's spiral of rising debt and political instability. Um, you know, Coming off of the events of last week, the feared first rating downgrade of the creditworthiness of France's public debt has arrived. We've seen massive protests on the street related to this. Um, you know, it feels like we've been in this situation before a few times. Could you give us the background to what's happening now?
Yeah, absolutely. We have been in a situation a few times, just not in France, if you want, in the sense that France is not used to this kind of treatment, while Italy is a world champion, for example, in finding itself in this kind of situation, together with other countries in perma crisis like Turkey, Argentina, and so on. Now, for some good reason, Italy is now is a much better place, more stable. Somehow the Italian government is among the most stable in Europe, surprisingly. While unfortunately the virus of instability has infected France. As we know, Michel Barnier and François Bayrou have tried to pass restrictive fiscal policies and budgets over the last 2 years, and the governments both collapsed in these attempts. This is clearly something that rating agencies could not ignore, which is the reason why the first of them has decided to proceed to this downgrade. And so Fitch ratings lowered the French public debt rating from AA minus to A plus. What are the motivations behind this? Well, first of all, the deficit is almost double the one mandated by the EU, almost 6% versus 3%. Debt is rising and high, has been rising for some time. In 2000 was around 60%, which is the level mandated by the EU again. And in 2025 has almost doubled to 113%. And a good 15% has occurred only since 2019, of course, partly as a result of COVID. And then, of course, the political instability that we just mentioned. So it's going to be extremely hard now for La Cornu to do something different that from what Bayrou and Michel Barnier have tried before him. And so it's kind of a desperate attempt by Macron to save his presidency.
And this sort of thing has been tried before by Barnier, by Bayrou, as you mentioned. It seems like Macron has now opted to go for his next prime minister, Le Cornu. What is Le Cornu's background in all of this, and what sort of position does it leave Macron in for the future?
Yeah, so La Cornu is a loyalist to Macron. Used to be of the Republican, so from the right-wing party, but then he defected to Macron's La République En Marche already from its foundation around 7 8 years ago. He has effectively wrote, climbed all the steps in government since the junior roles at the beginning to defense minister lately, while being still extremely young, is not even 40 yet. Uh, but then again, what's the chance of him succeeding? Very limited, because Macron, after having one of his governments collapsing in parliament because of lack of a majority, instead of listening to parliament, what they would have wanted, what solution they would have preferred, what they may have committed to, once again, he tried to impose his own candidate. So is going to be extremely unlikely for La Cornu to succeed, I think. And so the question is, first, is he going to be able to present a budget that makes it through Parliament? That's unlikely. Or will be Macron forced to dissolve Parliament once again, and then face again the possibility of a hung Parliament with three blocks that don't talk to each other, one led by Mélenchon, La France Insoumise, one led by Bardella and Le Pen, le Rassemblement National. Of course, in the middle, there's still Macron's party. And then there are the moderate right-wing and left-wing parties on each side, being socialist and Republican, but they don't have much to say in this period.
Yeah. I mean, what happens if, France's president PM, because of all these constraints, choose not to make these reforms and carry out fiscal consolidation? Additionally, what happens if Macron dissolves parliament?
So, first of all, the problem of this is damn if it does, damn if it doesn't. So if it does promote reforms and fiscal consolidation, the level of protest will increase in France, and this will probably pave the way for Le Pen to win in 2027. Le Pen or Bardella, depending on whether Le Pen can run. If it doesn't do the reform and fiscal consolidation, then markets will go in a tailspin, and it's going to be extremely hard then to control the situation, which will force even more draconian measures down the line, which make it even easier for Le Pen to win. So it's like whether it does it or not, it's going to be extremely hard for Macron to stop the rise of Le Pen. But then the reason why he continues this way is because he's going to stay, even if people are saying that he should resign, he's going to stay until the very last day in office, because politicians know that things can change very suddenly in politics. And so something like a lost battle in the last month or 2 months of the legislature may actually, or the term of presidential term may actually turn around and transform in something more similar to a victory. So, Macron is going to stay in place. He may dissolve parliament. I think is more likely than another hung parliament will emerge, or it may be forced to a cohabitation as it happened in the past. And in that case, it's going to be either with Mélenchon or Le Pen. In my case, in this case, I think is more likely Le Pen or Bardella rather than Mélenchon.
And like you said before, it seems like Macron's position is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. It echoes the situation where public finance is being strained, or creating momentum for the far right to gain popularity. That's happening in France. To some degree, it's happening here in the UK, in other parts of Europe. So something we'll continue to watch in the weeks to come. As always, Brunello, thank you so much for your time and insight.
Thank you very much. And to conclude, we did raise a flag for a potential victory by Le Pen in 2027 already in 2024. So I think this flag needs to be waved even stronger once again in this period. So Macron really will have to be extremely shrewd about these political choices over the next few months. But again, we'll watch it and we'll come back to that, I'm sure, in coming weeks.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.